So in this video, I just want to quickly address what Bootstrap is and what it includes, just for people that are just learning it and aren't really sure, what it entails and what it is. So Bootstrap is an open source front end or UI framework, also sometimes called a CSS framework. And it was created for very fast web development, or should I say user interface development. And it gives us tons of tools to create websites and application UIs. And we get all types of utility classes for margin and padding, typography, and so on, as well as component classes that are basically like pre-made templates for things like alerts, progress bars, etc. We also get built-in JavaScript widgets and plugins, and easy to use mobile first responsive grid system. And to do stuff like this from scratch with pure HTML and custom CSS would take a lot of time and a lot of knowledge. And Bootstrap makes this very easy. So this brings us to the advantages of Bootstrap. So one, it is browser compatible. This is a huge one. Your own custom CSS may not look right in all browsers, but Bootstrap has basically been tailored to be completely compatible in all modern browsers. It also promotes much faster development with pre-made classes and styling, as well as a responsive grid. It's great for developers that aren't so good at design and UI. Maybe you're a back-end server-side programmer, but you're not really good with creating user interfaces and design and stuff like that, and Bootstrap is great for that. It's also very easy to learn, as you'll find out, and it is responsive by nature, so you don't have to write all kinds of media queries. You can simply use the grid, and you just have a responsive website. So there's a few different ways to install Bootstrap. One is using the CDN, or the Content Delivery Network. This is what we'll be doing for the most part. It's very fast because files are served from high capacity infrastructures. It doesn't bog up your server, and it can boost performance and save money. So unless you're compiling your own files from SAS, a CDN is the way to go, and that's what we'll mostly be doing aside from the project where we compile our SAS, at least for the CSS. You could also download the files from getbootstrap.com, but I wouldn't really suggest that over a CDN unless you're developing or running locally without an internet connection. And then finally, you can use a package manager like NPM, which is Node Package Manager, or something like Yarn. This is a little more complicated. You have to do it from the command line. This is a good choice for more advanced development where you want to compile your own versions, or you want to merge files together and do certain tasks like that. But we're going to stick to the CDN for the most part. So now I'm just going to quickly go over some of the features of Bootstrap, some of the utilities, the components, and so on, just very quickly. So we have the grid system, which uses flex blocks, is completely responsive. We have text and typography classes for things like alignment and font sizing. We have positioning classes. We can have classes to display things as blocks or inline blocks. We have spacing classes for margin and padding on top, bottom, any sides we want, different units of measurement. We have sizing classes for widths and heights, alignment for text and other elements, colors for backgrounds and text and buttons, and plenty of other things. We have image classes for fitting images in their containers, for making images circular, things like that. And then responsive utilities. So for instance, if we wanted something to only show on small screens or large screens, we could do that as well. And then we have shadow classes, we have different border classes, and a whole bunch of other stuff that you're going to learn. Now, as far as CSS components, we have classes for forms and input groups. As you probably know, default HTML forms are very, very ugly, so Bootstrap gives us the ability to make them look much better. Same with tables. Tables are very ugly in HTML. We have special classes to create like striped tables or bordered tables, stuff like that. List groups is a really nice way to display unordered lists or ordered lists, or side menus, things like that. We have cards, which can display content in many different ways. If you just want a background border with some padding, if you want a header and footer, if you want to stick an image in there, you can do a lot of different things with cards. We also have progress bars, which you can change colors, you can animate, you can change the width and height. We have alerts. So for instance, if you wanted to say like, you have been logged in or you've been logged out, or if you want an error message, and you can also change the colors of the alerts as well. Navbar and menus is a huge one, because to implement a navbar with just HTML, CSS, and maybe JavaScript for some drop downs is quite difficult actually. And this makes it, Bootstrap makes it very, very easy to get that functionality. We also have buttons and button groups, pagination, media objects for like news sites and blogs, a Jumbotron, which is like a big showcase area that will, you can put headings and buttons and all kinds of stuff in. Badges, so badges go really well with list groups. If you wanted a list of categories and you want to put like the number of posts in that category inside a badge, you could do something like that. And then for JavaScript widgets, we have a really nice carousel slider where we can have indicators, we can have arrows, we can set options. So if we wanted to go faster or slower, things like that, we can actually control that within jQuery. We also have collapsible accordions. If we wanted just a basic button to make another piece of content collapse or slide down, we could do that. We also have full-fledged accordion widgets as well. Modals are basically like pop-ups that can fade in nicely, and you can put whatever you want in them, images, forms, just text, whatever you'd like. Tooltips, so if you want to hover over something and have a nice tooltip show up. Popovers are very similar to tooltips. And then we also have Scroll Spy, which will allow you to scroll through your content and then have that piece of content highlight that area in the nav menu, which is really nice. And we're also going to implement a little bit of custom jQuery to achieve smooth scrolling in our themes, in our projects. All right, so that's a really quick summary of what Bootstrap includes. If you're confused, don't worry about it. We're going to go through everything one by one, and we're going to, in the next video, just talk a little bit about what's changed from Bootstrap 3 to 4, and then we'll go ahead and get started setting up our text editor.